Good.
Thank you. Good morning and good afternoon to everyone that is available to come here today for this webinar session on these special questions that we have prepared for you for FEM 4.0. And welcome. Thank you so much for your attendance today. So for the ones that were not able to join us yesterday, my name is Sandra Teixeira, and I have a degree in chemical engineering, process and management in energy and management. I am being involved in the textile industry for more than 22 years. 11 of those years were spent in the industry field in the wet processing. Then I have passed to several roles that I would like to also emphasize my role as chemical sales engineer. And in the past few years, I'm being performing environmental audits and also water and energy assessments and chemical risk assessments. For today, we have our agenda that first of all, we would like to welcome you all. We will have a brief introduction about LES and introduction also about FEM 4.0. And we will focus today on our on the section 3, energy and greenhouse gas emissions, and also related to some quantitative data that is required in the Higg FEM. Some added values also regarding the Higg implementation and more information or contacts about leadership and sustainability. And at the end of our session, we will have questions and discussions for the topics that are discussed here today. So leadership and sustainability, our CEO, Karin Ekberg, has experienced more than 35 years improving performance in a corporate strategic level and at a facility level. She was head of environmental services at Adidas and also sustainability director at ASA Abloy. We stand out from the crowd by our system approach coupled with manufacturing knowledge and also to drive change and measurable results. We are also a verifier body for FSL M and also Higg FEM verifications. On the links here you can find also additional information about us. We will like also to let you know some of using the webinar today and tool control panel. So during this webinar, the audience will be muted in order to ensure the best audio quality, but please feel free to send us your questions during the presentation through the function Q&A that is here in the below of the Zoom bar, and type your questions and send us to us. And at the end, at the end of the session, we will discuss all the issues that are raised here today. In the following up, we will send you the documents and the link for where you can download all the presentation and also the video record. Also, we would like to let you know that the materials that are here presented today are copyrighted by Cascale and Leadership and Sustainability. Please don't share them outside. These are only for your use. So it's really important to not to do that. So thank you. And for the Higg FEM 4.0, the introduction to Cascale, formerly known as SAC, they have rebranded the name as I have referred yesterday. So the Higg FEM has been improved from the FEM 3.0, and these improvements started in mid of 2020 to address several aspects and issues that were raised during that were raised during the verification, and in order to align with recent industry standards and best practices. In the link, you can find the technical paper with more details about the requirements, and also the How to Higg FEM 4.0 is available here in the link, so you can guide yourself in order to fulfill all the requirements for these verifications. And as you may know, this module FEM 2023 is available from the beginning of November 2023, so by now you are all be able to purchase these modules. For the Higg FEM cycle, for this cadence, you, as I referred, can purchase the module from November 23 until October 24, and the assessment is also possible to be done from November until December 24. The posting from January until April is able to be posted unlimited and posting and unposting, but after April 30 only one posting is possible, and the verification assessment can be done from January until December the 24th. And I will also like to let you know that once the facility begins to verify a module, this module cannot be unposted. And for 2023 FEM, this unposting is not applicable at any time. So verified modules can only be posted once, just for your reference. So just let me see that I have here someone that has raised yesterday was webinar was available. We had some technical issues, but you will be able to see the record and the documents. So starting now with these questions for the energy section, as I referred in the beginning. So today we will cover energy and greenhouse gas emissions. And as introduction, as you may know, energy production and energy use are the largest man-made sources for air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions. So in this sense, the energy modules encourage you to identify and understand which types of energy are you using at your facility, to understand which operations and processes at your facility use the most energy, to track and report the quantity of energy consumption that you are using at your facility, and to calculate or support you in the calculation for scope 1, 2, and 3 greenhouse gas emissions, to evaluate the plan and adopt solutions to reduce your energy and your greenhouse gas emissions throughout better manufacturing process, or to understand or evaluate where are the places or where are the areas which are most consuming energy, and to act on those. So this will give you a better understanding about your consumptions. Also, the energy used throughout your facilities is coming from several origins in the production activities that you are developing, and these energy sources are grouped into 3 categories that are purchased energy, renewable energy, and non-renewable energy. Regarding the greenhouse gas emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions are gases, as you know, that Earth's atmosphere are absorbing or trapped into, and outgoing radiation, and maintaining the Earth's temperature, and this is called the greenhouse effect. So the energy generation and use, transport, use for refrigeration gas or other activities produce greenhouse gas emissions that warm the environment. And here also the greenhouse gas emissions are categorized into three different scopes. That we have scope 1 emissions that are direct emissions from own or control sources. We have scope 2 emissions that are indirect emissions from the generation of purchased energy that is consumed. And scope 3 emissions that are all the other indirect emissions that occur into your company's value chain. So as a summary of the questions regarding the energy and greenhouse gas emissions, we have some enhanced certification and emission factor tracking that is now included in FEM 4.0, like biomass certification. If you separate greenhouse gas emission factors tracking for power and heat sources, which are the company vehicles energy sources. If you are having carbon offsets and energy use tracking, like carbon offsets purchase, energy use tracking, domestic production, and production energy distinction, if you have this distinction between domestic use for energy and the energy used in the production processes, and to separate renewables energies from non-renewables energy and reporting of those energies. So here is really to understand the sources of energy and track the consumption in each one of the areas that you have inside your facility, and understand from those trackings which are the areas that are the most consuming or intensive consuming energy, and be able to act on those and understand if there is anything that you can do inside your facility to reduce those consumptions. We have here some also resume regarding the energy audits and fossil fuel phase out, like energy audit records, if you have any inside your facility, regarding the fossil fuel phase out, if you have any plans to replace these fossil fuels, and if you have, of course, any financial analysis for switching from these fossil fuels to other energy sources, more renewable and less harming to the environment. Also related to science-based targets and renewable energy implementation, we have new additions in the FEM 4.0, like science-based targets approval status for science-based targets, replacing fossil fuels with renewables. And also in the energy and green gas emissions, we have the questions that were added into FEM 4.0, that are the ones that we can see here highlighted in bold, are the new questions that were added in FEM 4.0. They are distributed throughout the three levels of the FEM, level 1, 2, and 3. As a remark, and we already referred this yesterday, but as a remark and for your awareness, only questions level 1 will be verified for the data 2023. For this year only, core verification set of questions will be verified, and some quantitative data will be verified. So you will still be able to fill out all your questions in the self-assessment from level 1, 2, and 3 if you are able to, if these questions opens to you, but in the verification process, only questions, level 1 questions will be verified, and quantitative data metrics will be verified. So be aware that you will have two different scores, one score for the verification and one score from the self-assessment. And of course, you will not be able to compare yourself the score from FEM 3.0 will not be able to be comparable with FEM 4.0 once we only be verifying questions from level 1. So the questions that we have prepared today for you regarding the level 1 and level 2 and level 3, but for energy, we have the energy sources. And the question is, select all the sources of energy fuel for company-owned and controlled vehicles. So now you should provide the details on the fuel blend of these fuels. For instance, if you are using gasoline that your facility and you know that this gasoline is 90% gasoline and 10% ethanol, then you should insert the percentage of ethanol in your gasoline source. And as here, in order to show the evidence and support your answers, the suggested uploads are like energy tracking records that shows that your facility energy sources and energy and fuel for your company and control vehicles. You should upload all your records that you have from these, and also the percentage of ethanol or that fuel is having. Also, as energy example, and for level 2 questions, one of new question that is here in the FEM is regarding the energy audits. And the question is, has your energy audit been conducted at your facility within the last 5 years? And as uploads that are suggested in order to make evidence for your statements, you should include a copy of the energy audit report in order to show that you are really able or having these audit energies in the cadence that you are stating. And we have also an example of a question from level 3 for energy and greenhouse gas emission that is related to fossil fuel phase out. Does your facility have a plan to phase out any fossil fuel or other than coal? And if you say yes to this question, then you will pop out sub-questions like, have you done any financial analysis, cost impact to replace any fossil fuel or other than coal as an energy source? What is your plan and what are your steps to phase out these fuels? What is your financial date to complete your fossil fuel phase out? So all these should be documented in order to support. In addition, input phase out means that discontinue the use of fuel fossils, replacing a fossil fuel with another fossil fuel is not an example of fuel phase out. So phasing out furnace oil and using diesel for the boiler is not considered as phase out. So you should show your plans or that you have inside in order to explain what kind of fuel are you intending to phase out, or one, or if more than one, you should show your details and also your financial impact in order to understand the feasibility. As uploads, as I referred, a copy of these plans, including the details of specific actions the facility plans to take the phase out fossil fuels use, or other documentation that support the plan, like the financial analysis or replacing the fossil fuel, the new or the proposed equipment specifications that you are going to use, and which are the renewable energy solutions that you are intending to implement in your facility. So regarding the energy and greenhouse gas emission section. Also here, and this is very important for you to be aware, that the quantitative data is required, and this quantitative data, you should be aware that if you are using energy with attributes like certificates, ACAs or IREX or GO certificates for the purchase energy, you need to report units in megawatts hour. Also the carbon offsets, if you are purchasing these carbon offsets, also the units that you need to report are in metric tons of CO2. And you should also be aware about the overall energy usage, the annual consumption, the scope 3 greenhouse gas emission calculation quantity, and here you should have the detailed information about how the calculation and how did you reach those values, the detailed details on approved science-based targets for your greenhouse gas emissions. And also this part of the quantitative data is really important. During our verifications, often we see some mismatch between the information that the facility has inside and the one that is declared. So we will decided to give you some inputs, additional inputs regarding the quantitative data requirements that you should have implemented in your facility, so you could have a good and feasible and accurate information in the platform, in the world. So the quantitative data in Higg FEM 4.0 accuracy is a critical point for a facility improvement and brand reputation. If you are not declaring your data accurately, so all your goals and your objectives and the information that you take out from that data will not be feasible, and afterwards when you are going to implement your goals or your actions, they will not be so feasible or as you planned to initially. So there are key quantitative data categories, and here you can see that all the sections have quantitative data, site info, any permits, environmental management system, energy and GHG, the water, wastewater, air emissions, waste management, and the chemicals. All these sections will have a part of quantitative data that you should be aware and confirm that these are accurate. In page 38 of the technical paper, you can see all data points, and you have more information there and detail if you are needed to. Regarding the data collection, so the verifiers here must review all the aspects of the facility tracking program that will produce inaccuracies. So the initial data collection process, the data sources, the invoice, the on-site meters, the meter logs. So all of these you should have on hand, prepared, and confirm internally if these values that you have through this process are really feasible and accurate. And the process tools to use to aggregate the data, like a spreadsheet calculations, the units conversion that you have used in order to have the proper values, and of course can be checked. So please take this in consideration. And if any inconsistencies or errors are noted, the reported information must be corrected where possible, and detailed in comments should be included in the verification data field. Also, you should be aware, because when you are converting, be aware about the factor 1000, for example, kilograms or tons, because sometimes you are reporting in kilograms or in tons, and this mismatch of information, and sometimes you are using comma instead of a dot, and depending the country, and this can make or can influence the final values that you input into the platform and provide some inaccuracies in the data. So this is really important that you take care about the reporting values that you are using. Also, you should collect all data year by year into one spreadsheet with different tabs, one energy, one water. And this is a good practice for you because you will be able to compare. And once you want to check any of your information, you have all the information gathered in one single place, and it's easier for control and tracking, also for your internal awareness, and take measures or actions and plan the interventions if needed, or if it is the case, of course. You should keep all data complete with a clear indication of units as well, all calculations, baseline, target settings, comparisons, and reduction or increases. So you, with this gathering of data, you will be able to compare the values that you have inside your facility and understand in which way you are, and if you need to adjust your plan in order to achieve the goals that you have set. And make sure that you compare the data with the original source, the invoices or the meters, depending on the source of your data. Please double check or cross check your data in order to confirm that your values are correct. If you don't, when you are inputting the data in your spreadsheet or in your data records, if you don't change the numbers, that if there is no mistyping of the values that you have originally from the invoices or the meter logs. So it's really important to double check. As I said, it's really important to have internal verification done for all your data in order to assure the accuracy. And also, once you do this, make the plausibility test and ask yourselves if the data that you are reporting makes sense, and compare with the previous year of the same period in order to understand if that value is feasible, or try to, if you see that there is a very different value from the previous year, try to understand why, and confirm if the value that you are using is plausible. Another topic regarding the quantitative data is, of course, the management and the normalization of the data. In Higg FEM, the baselines can be absolute, that are related to the absolute value of consumption that you have, can be in kilowatts per year, or the normalize to a product or operation metric, means that you should be able to have your energy consumption per unit of production. And so we highly recommend this normalization of the data for the production that depends on indicators, as this provides a better year-over-year comparison of the data, therefore will be more useful and additional to analytics. So with the energy per unit of production, you will be able to compare yourself this year, the last month, the months in the year before, and understand if your consumption is rising or decreasing, and will not be interfered by the raising of the production or less consumption because you have less production. So with this normalization already, you know that per 1 kilo of production, you are consuming X value of energy. So I think this is really important to you, and be helpful also for you to understand if your consumption is rising or decreasing. And of course, after that analysis, you can set your plans to adjust your production process, or to think in alternative technologies in order to be more energy efficient. So again, I think we recommend that all the calculations should be in one spreadsheet, so you can, of course, compare yourself with the previous or with the historical data that you have inside. And the follow-up, the main aspects that will be needed to be checked are the completeness, accuracy, the consistency, the transparency, data quality management. This is really important for you to have good quality of data, and remember to keep all the data consistent from the measurements to the baselining to the target setting, follow up. Keep units consistent, compare with your baseline and the actual targets. So these are really important issues. And this is a very important topic, and as you saw, it's covering all the sections, is the quality data and management. So if you will have a good data collection and management in place, your facility, afterwards, of course, you will have accurate values. So it's really important. As an additional value for implementing FEM, here you can find our team spread all over Europe. We have local experts in several countries in the globe, and also in Portugal. That will be me, that I'm here now. Here you can see our contact sales for all the regions, and you can reach us. Feel free to contact us for any issue that you are having. And also you can find more information in our web page, where you can see our previous sessions, webinars, and many more that are not here, but please feel free, or I invite you to, all of you, to go into our website and see the news that we have there. And also we have here additional contacts for us, the link for our website, also the visit our e-learning platform, where we can have a step-by-step course for Higg FEM with all the questions that are covered. All the new questions are covered for the FEM 4.0, and our email and phone number. So with this, we are open to your questions that were raised now. So just a moment, I will stop sharing my screen so I can go into the questions. So we have here, let me see. Please explain scope 3. Scope 3 emissions are the emissions that are related to your supply chain. Your value supply chain means that are the emissions related to those transports that are not in your facility, but you need, of course, because the fabric comes from one place to your facility, then you send your articles to another facility, or to ship or plane. So these are scope 3 emissions that are not your own, but are related to your produced products. Here the question is, greenhouse gas emission factor are different from power and heating. Yes, of course, that will be depending. So the separation is really to understand what are the greenhouse emissions related to the heating and the equipment that you are using, and the greenhouse gas emission factors for power energy. If you go to electricity, or if you are using, for example, gas, you will have different greenhouse gas emissions. So, and also here you can separate them by power and heating sources. If you conduct this webinar, I think you are referring here if the webinar from yesterday. It was conducted, and you will receive the video record as well as the documents. We are sorry for our technical issue. Some of you were able to attend, but some of not were not, and we are really sorry for that. But this information will be available to you all, and we send you all information through the link or through the email that you have provided. So again, we excuse yourselves, but yeah. So we'll be okay. Vehicle energy use means only scope 1. Yes, in this case is your own vehicle energy that are used inside your facility for scope 1. One question, what is the process? Here this question, Celeste Shen is questioning what process require the most energy. If we get this answer from energy audit, and energy audit only requires for once per 5 years, is that also means that we can answer the same answer for 5 years? No, of course not, because the idea is really to improve yourself. So if you have a outcome from an energy audit, and you have an input that your area, a specific area is the most energy consuming. So this means that you should try to improve yourself and act on that area that was identified as energy consuming or energy intensive. So the idea is that the next year that is not the most consuming energy area, or if still is, you can implement additional actions, but also from the FEM and from the data collection for the energy intensity, you can understand which are the areas, and you can identify other areas inside your facility. So the real goal for this data collection for the energy use is really that, is to understand and act on the most consuming areas and improve yourselves years over year. So here, I think it will not be too much correct to have the same answer for the 5 years. So the idea is really to improve yourself, and you can use, of course, your energy reports to as a starting point if you don't have any data, and then with these verifications and with all your data collection, start to make your own plan and understand which are the most consuming areas inside your facility, because you will be able to see that mirrored in the values that you are collecting. So there is another. Regarding details on energy mix of the purchase renewable for the reporting years, my company has purchased renewable, but they told us that they will give us the energy label for 2022 only after June 2021. What should we indicate in this year? I think here, Christina Palade, you are speaking about the IGO or REC certificates. So in this case, these IREC certificates, yes, usually they happen like that, and they not usually are in the time frame of the consumption. but by then, you are saying in June 24, you will have the report of the renewable energy that you have used from last year, and you will be able to report, because in that RIREC, usually there is the date of the period of that energy consumption, and also be aware that usually that energy is in megawatts per hour in these IRECs or GO certificates or energy attributes. Can we share the core verification question via mail aqui? Okay, you also, we will share these afterwards, this Higg FEM verification, the core verification question. Also, you can find these in the How to Higg, the latest version. Here, Christina, for hydro, solar, wind, and other renewable sources, put the info from 22 that appears on the invoice. This is correct? No, here when we speak about hydro, solar, wind, and other renewable sources, the information is not, please note that the information that we are checking 2024 is the data regarding the year of 2023. Here, I don't know if it was a typing mistake, just for you to be aware, is regarding the data from 2023. And for the invoices, if your energy invoices, like electricity, has that circle with the division, and you can see that they are a mix of energies, this is not considered as renewable energy, because you have a mix of energy, and also you can see that in that mix sometimes that is coal energy or electricity coming from coal source and also from thermonuclear sources. So these invoices from electricity are not considered as renewable because they are mixed. The renewable energy are the ones that you purchase from with certificate attributes, or the ones that you are produced internally. If you have internal solar panels, production for self-consumption, if you have, for instance, any hydro or micro hydro energy production, if you are placed in near a river and you have a turbine that is possible for you to generate electricity, if you have a wind generator for electricity for your own use, these are the ones that you should be reported as renewable sources, not the ones that are detailed in your electricity invoice. We cannot upload more than one file in the attachment for one question. Yeah, you can, because you can also attach these files, more than one. I saw, maybe depending on the question. Sometimes what happens is if the file is too big, then the platform is having troubles to upload the full document. Here you may try to upload these or take a screenshot of the information that you need to, that is having the evidence for that specific question that you are uploading, and try to upload like this, because we see that often see that there are more than one file attached. But we also have been reported that there are some issues regarding once the files are too heavy and they are not able to be uploaded. So please try to do like this and have a screenshot of the information if you feel that you are not able to upload all the full document. I can give you more questions. The science-based targets it's a platform or a benchmarking that you can compare yourself with, but I can give you more information afterwards on your afterwards this webinar in more detail, where you can find this information and how should you address this. 2 years ago, my company didn't have solar panels. We mount solar panels last year. For this case, we cannot set a baseline for this type of energy source. Baseline that we can choose is 222. What can we do in this case? Yeah, because you didn't have the previous year in this case, but you are not able to report it. Depend on the number. Yes, you only last year for the 2023. You are not, but in 2024, next year, you will be able already to report your energy baseline. But you can, of course, report in 2023 the data, the amount of energy from solar panels that you have produced and consumed in your facility. You can report it. You will only be able to use this as baseline on 2025, when we are verifying the data from 2024. We had baseline of 2030 for a few of parameters, but this year onward, the option of year is not. Yes, now the baseline only available. You need, of course, to use a more recent year to define baselines. And I think you can choose from 2019 will be available already. Also because we had these issues with COVID and some of facilities were not in full working. You will need, of course, because from 2017 until this year is already more than 5 years, and you should have more updated baselines. How the scoring of core verification is calculated of 100. Here, as I referred, the score will only be partial, because we are not verifying all the questions. As I referred, you will have a score for the verification process that are only related to the core verification, the level 1 questions and the quantitative data, and the score for the self-assessment. So you will have 2 different scores that cannot be comparable, because they are not fully. The score for core verification is only partial, not on the 100. We are using transport subcontractors or equipment rental. How can you calculate greenhouse? You need to understand to calculate these greenhouse gas emissions. You need to understand the number or the amount of or the number of hours, or the use of the transportation from your subcontractors, and try to understand which are their greenhouse gas emissions that they have reported, and then, of course, add them to your supply chain as scope 3 greenhouse gas emissions. In my industries, we use natural gas for both power and heating system. We calculate the same greenhouse. In this case, the natural gas as one source of, as one conversion, one factor of greenhouse gas emission. But here the idea is, if you separate the energy that is used to produce heating and the energy that is used to produce power, that are apart. and the idea is also to separate these, and of course, because the greenhouse gas emission associated to one source of energy is the same, but the idea is also to have this separation from what is heating and what is power energy, because you are producing electricity with that source of energy. And annual production volume was measured in square meter, and annual measured in square meter, but in this year is replaced with kilogram. What should I do? Should I set a new baseline or target? Yes, here the idea is really to quantify and to have a better measurement. That's why a line and the units of measurement for the production are for fabric, for instance, are in kilograms. So you need to convert your square meters into kilograms. You should weigh, for instance, a square meter of the fabric, and also of fabric or leather. I don't know specifically which is your type of industry, but you should have a wage and then have a conversion factor for your facility from square meters to kilos, or if you have the possibility to start using waging always your production, will be the best way to have the accurate amount of produced articles or produced produced fabric inside your facility. And if you are choosing the way by using a conversion factor, also this should be visible and aware in the data records that you are having in your facility. And once you are sharing these records in the Worldly platform, you need to also make mention of the use conversion factor, so that can be checked also. Until now, we could see the percentage we have after each completed model. Now we cannot see that percentage we have on self-assessment even after completing the model. Do you know why? I know that this was defined by Cascale. They decided not to show the records just for they think that the most important thing is really to do these assessments and to be accurate, and not to show the records as they go, in order to ensure more transparency and not be influenced on the records that is going are showing in after each one of the modules. So yes, also us are not able to see those records. Until now, the label for until only after June, and we can have deadline for self-assessment. The label for 2023 only after June 20, and deadline for self-assessment is end. I don't know if I clearly understand your question, Christina. I think here, as is my understanding, that you are asking that the deadline for the self-assessment is April based on your label. So of course you have the Higg FEM as this calendar, but if you have any requirement from a specific brand that asks you to do it after June, you can do it. Until April, you need to be aware that you are only just let me go here to the presentation. Sorry. Just a moment, please. Just to check and not to tell you any inaccuracy. So until assessment, you are able to do your assessment from November, your self-assessment, until December. But the verification in April 30, 2024 is the deadline for self-assessment with content locked for benchmarking. Means that you still are able to do this self-assessment, but we will not be able after to do the benchmark if you are, or to compare yourself after April 30. And the label only requires you to do it after, but of course it will be beneficial for you if you do it before April 2024 in order to have the full content evaluated. Yes, we will provide a record for this webinar. Is no mistake. I tell you, you cannot give a label for up to mid. I don't understand what you mean with the label, but maybe you can type me afterward or more detail with your question regarding the label of 2023 to middle 2024, and we try to address your question. Please, Christina, do that. Hi, we had a baseline here and a few. Okay, I don't know. And annual production volume as measured in sky. Okay, sorry, you have select stocks on now in order to attach them. Which standard factor you consider in the local government or international? You should see, you can select the factor that you are using, can be either wise or the government or the international. Maybe I advise you to select what are the government, so you are also in compliance with your local legislation. But here the idea is also to share these emission factors that you are using inside your facility. How we scoring core verification already replied to us. Again, this the energy audit. Regarding energy audit, we are having installed individual electricity meter and able to identify which areas consume the highest energy. Can this be energy audit? No, the energy audit should be performed by an external entity that will be independent and will give you this report of energy auditing. Of course, you always can have and use these metrics that you have inside if you are able to isolate and understand which are the most consuming areas. Of course, this is really good for you, and also to define your baselines and to identify which are the areas that are the most energy consuming and try to act on those. You're not set in level 3 SBU. I will ask you I will reply to you in separate. Please send me an email. We do not set SBTIs, but we have a plan to set level 3 SB. Question, can we answer? I don't understand very well what you mean. Please send us an email with the detailed information and we will reply to you. This participant is anonymous. Usually, how often your baseline is updated? you need to show you have a plan in the long-term plan at least 3 years. So at least from every 3 years you should update your baseline, and because as I referred, the idea is really to improve yourself, and if you have a very big space between, you will not be able to improve yourself. So yeah. Any guidance is given in Higg for conversion? I'm not sure if how Higg is giving you the conversion factor for greenhouse emissions or the calculation. They only give the guidance on which are the criteria and the requirements. But I can give a check, a more detailed check, and try to see if there is any conversion, any information, but no, I guess not. The other question is, and we are already on time. I will just do this. If we hire any vehicles from our premises, it will be calculated. If this is used inside your facility, yes, I guess so. But this is a good question. If we hire, you mean if you rental vehicles of your premise, this will be how it will be calculated. This is a good question that I will address internally also to understand, because you are saying, if my understanding is correct, you are speaking about rental some vehicles. Vehicles are not your own, but you are using in the same way the gasoline or the diesel for this, but you are using external services. So it's an interesting question that we will address afterwards. And for the other questions, we will reply to them by email, okay? So for today, we will finish this session for the questioning. Thank you so much for all of your attendance here today. And I hope to see you next week in our next sessions. Thank you so much, and have a nice day or afternoon or evening. Bye-bye. Have a nice day.